What if I told you that some experts think that AI could be smarter than any human on Earth? Like smarter than all of us by 2027.
Wow. Yeah, that's not some distant sci-fi future we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's just a couple years from now.
Right. It's crazy. And it might sound like something out of a movie, but there really are a growing number of researchers and tech leaders who are convinced that this is not just possible, but it's probably going to happen.
Yeah, I've been seeing more and more about this too.
Yeah, so this whole deep dive is based on this article that we found on Medium, and it really kind of threw us for a loop. It's called AI. 99% of you are not ready for what's coming in 2027. Well, let me tell you, it lays out a pretty intense timeline for when we might see what they call artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
AGI, yeah.
So we're talking about AI that can learn and reason and solve problems just like humans can, but potentially on a whole other level.
Yeah, and one of the key things the article really emphasizes is that AI isn't just getting better, in a straight line. It's actually growing exponentially.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. If AI capabilities were like a rocket, it's not just steadily cruising along, it's blasting off into hyperspace.
And they actually use a really cool analogy in the article to explain this whole idea of exponential growth. They talked about something called orders of magnitude, or ooms.
Right, ooms.
To kind of explain just how fast AI is actually evolving.
Yeah, OMs basically represent a tenfold increase in something. So a 1 OM improvement means something is 10 times better, 2 OMs is 100 times better, and so on. And get this, the article claims that ChatGPT models are improving at a rate of half an OM every single year. Quick ask. Almost 95% of you watch our videos but still aren't subscribed. Please click subscribe. It really helps us grow. And if you're not loving our content, you can always change your mind. Thanks, and back to it.
So let me get this straight. If ChatGPT is getting 5 times better each year, and this just keeps compounding, then things could escalate pretty quickly, right?
Exactly. And the article really uses ChatGPT as a prime example of this explosive growth that we're talking about. I mean, just think about it. A few years ago, AI chatbots were pretty basic. You probably remember those frustrating customer service bots that could barely understand a simple question.
Oh, yeah.
But now, ChatGPT can hold complex conversations, write different kinds of creative content, and even answer your questions in a really informative way, even if the questions are open-ended, challenging, or strange.
It's a totally different ballgame now. And the article points to 3 main things that are driving this insane acceleration: increasing computing power, smarter algorithms, and something called reinforcement learning from human feedback.
Right.
So let's break those down one by one, starting with computing power.
Okay, so computing power is where companies like NVIDIA are really making a huge impact. They're like the rock stars of AI hardware right now because they're pumping out these incredibly powerful GPUs, or graphics processing units. And these GPUs are essentially the brains behind all these complex AI models that we're talking about.
So it's AI has gone from riding a bicycle to driving a Formula One race car.
Exactly.
In terms of processing power.
Yeah.
But even with all that power, you wouldn't be able to do much without sophisticated algorithms, right?
Oh, absolutely. The algorithms are basically the software that tell the hardware what to do. They're like the instructions that allow AI to process all that information and actually learn from it. And the article mentions that in less than 2 years, ChatGPT became 1,000 times more efficient. That's 3 whole ohms.
Wow.
Which is just incredible.
That's insane.
And it's a real testament to the ingenuity of the people who are designing these algorithms.
Totally.
Hey, want our free AI dope top AI tools that we use? Chat below. It's our live Google Sheets packed with over 100 killer tools: video, music, photos, AI voices, productivity, script writing, YouTube hacks, captions, the works. Always growing. Live Google Sheet. Always free. AI dope top AI tools that we use. Download and chat below. Back to the show.
So we've got the hardware muscle and the algorithmic brains. But what about the human side of things? That's where that reinforcement learning from human feedback comes in, right?
Right, exactly. Think of it like this. We're basically teaching AI how to be better at being AI. Every time we interact with a system like ChatGPT, every time we give it feedback or correct its mistakes, we're actually helping it learn and refine its responses. It's like we're shaping AI's intelligence through our interactions.
So in a sense, we're all kind of contributing to this whole AI revolution, whether we realize it or not. But if AI is already this advanced, what happens in 2027 and beyond? The article takes a pretty bold step there and suggests that AI could achieve what they call superintelligence.
Yeah, and that's where things get really interesting. So superintelligence is basically this idea of AI becoming smarter than humans, not just in specific tasks, but like across the board. Imagine combining the intelligence of like all the top experts in every field, from physics to medicine to economics, and then multiplying that intelligence millions of times over.
Whoa, that's hard to even imagine. What would a world with that kind of intelligence even look like? The article talks about an AI industrial revolution, but I'm not sure I really understand what that means for us.
Right, so on the one hand, the article suggests that this could be like a golden age of advancement for humanity. Imagine AI helping us cure diseases that have been around for centuries, or revolutionizing how we produce energy so we can have clean and sustainable power. It could even help us fight climate change in ways we haven't even thought of yet.
Okay, so it sounds like there's some serious potential benefits here, but the article also talks about the risks of AI, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. One of the biggest concerns is what happens to jobs. As AI gets smarter, it's probably going to start automating a lot of jobs that humans do now, especially jobs that involve repetitive tasks or analyzing data.
Yeah, a lot of people are already worried about robots taking their jobs, but the article doesn't make it sound like AI is going to replace us entirely. It talks more about humans and AI working together, right?
Exactly. The idea is that humans and AI will collaborate, using each other's strengths. Humans are good at creative thinking, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence, while AI is good at processing information quickly, analyzing huge amounts of data, and doing things really fast.
So it's not like AI is the Terminator coming to take over.
No, not at all.
It's more about figuring out how to integrate AI into the way we work. But the article also brings up some big ethical questions, right? Like, how do we even make sure that AI is developed and used responsibly?
Yeah, that's a really important point. The article talks about the need for ethical guidelines for AI development. For example, how do we make sure AI is fair? How do we prevent it from being used to harm people? These are questions that all of society needs to think about and discuss.
So it sounds like this isn't just a technological challenge, it's also a philosophical one, right?
Exactly.
Like, we need to figure out what our values are
Yeah.
and how AI fits into them. So the article doesn't just warn us about the dangers of AI, but it also gives us some ideas about how to prepare for an AI-powered future.
Right. One of the big takeaways is that we should be investing in the companies and technologies that are driving this AI revolution. The authors specifically mention companies like NVIDIA, who make those powerful chips that AI needs. They also talk about investing in tech stocks, robotics companies, and ETFs that focus on these areas.
So if you're thinking about investing, it sounds like you should pay attention to the companies that are actually building the AI future. But what about just regular people? What can we do to prepare for this crazy new world?
The article says that adaptability and continuous learning are going to be essential. As AI changes different industries, some jobs will disappear and new ones will be created. So people need to stay ahead of the curve by learning new skills, being open to new opportunities, and basically being lifelong learners.
It sounds like being flexible is going to be really important in this new world. And the article also says we need to start thinking differently about education, right?
Yeah, they argue that traditional education systems might need to change to better prepare people for a future where AI is everywhere. We might need to focus more on teaching critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity.
Those are all skills that AI can't really replicate, right?
Exactly. It's not just about learning technical skills, it's about developing a whole new mindset that lets us thrive in a world where AI is doing a lot of the routine tasks. But even with all this preparation, it's still really hard to understand what this AI revolution will actually be like.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what makes this whole topic so fascinating, but also kind of scary.
Right.
We're on the verge of something huge, and we can only really guess at what's going to happen.
And the article's title, AI, 99% of you are not ready for what's coming in 2027, is definitely meant to get our attention. But it makes me wonder, what does it even mean to be ready for this kind of future?
That's a great question, and it's one that I think we should keep in mind as we keep talking about this.
It really does feel like we're at this turning point in history, you know? Like something big is about to happen. But it's easy to get caught up in all the hype and predictions.
Yeah, I agree. What's really interesting to me is that we're not talking about some far-off future anymore. Like, based on how fast AI is developing, these changes the article talks about could start happening really soon.
So how do we even make sense of all this?
Yeah.
We've talked about the good stuff and the bad stuff, investing and adapting, but how do we wrap our heads around the idea of AI being smarter than humans?
Well, I think it's important to remember that AI is ultimately a tool, right? And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It's up to us to make sure it's used for the right reasons.
Yeah, that makes sense. But the article says that once AI gets smart enough, it might start designing and improving itself. Like it could take control of its own evolution. That makes me wonder if we can actually control something that's smarter than us.
That's a really good point, and it's something that AI researchers are talking about a lot. People are working on safeguards and ethical guidelines to make sure that AI development stays aligned with human values.
So it's not just about making AI smarter, but making it beneficial to humanity.
Right. We need AI that we can trust and that we can work with.
Exactly. But with all these risks and unknowns, is there any reason to be optimistic about this future?
I think so. I mean, AI has the potential to solve some of the world's biggest problems and create a future where everyone has more opportunities. I think about the advancements we could make in medicine, technology, and all kinds of other fields.
So it's not about being afraid of AI. It's about understanding its power and using it for good. The article seems to say that a lot of people don't really know what's going on in the world of AI. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think there's a big gap between how fast AI is developing and how much the public understands about it. That's why it's so important to talk about these things and why resources like AI Dope are so valuable.
So for our listeners who are just starting to learn about this AI revolution, what advice would you give them? What are the most important things to keep in mind as we move into this unknown territory?
Honestly, I'd say the most important thing is to just stay informed, keep learning about what AI can do and what its limitations are, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
The title of that article, AI. 99% of you are not ready for what's coming in 2027 is definitely a wake-up call. It's a reminder that the future is happening right now and that we all have a part in shaping it.
Yeah, and that future isn't set in stone. We have the power to guide it and make sure it's a future that benefits everyone. But that starts with understanding what's going on, which is what AI Dope is all about.
So if you want to learn more, head over to AI Dope. We've got tons of information to help you navigate the world of AI.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep asking questions.
And if you want another AI Dope deep dive, check this next video and ask yourself, how lucky are we to live in these AI Dope times?